Hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode of the Guys Who Stare at Stats that I never thought I would have to make. Vanderbilt has beaten Alabama. Vanderbilt has scored 40 points on Alabama. I, I, I am speechless, yet it is my job to talk you through this, or at least try to talk myself through this at this point. I mean, you can see it here on the screen. Vanderbilt beating Alabama 40-35. 23-game losing streak snapped. First time ever Vandy's beaten a number one team. And just, as always, before I get super into this, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all those good things. Leave a comment down below because, honestly, this is something that I don't know how many times I'm going to say this during the video. I literally just got home from work, 15 minutes maybe by the time this game has ended, and just... this is one of the craziest things I could ever imagine in college football. I thought there was a shot that there'd be a lot of upsets this weekend. There's some I've been dead wrong on if you saw my little predictions post this week, but my goodness, Vanderbilt had a game plan. And I want to scroll down here and show you this possession machine here, looking at ESPN side. And this is what this was. This was a machine for Vanderbilt. This has been Vandy's game plan. If you've watched them this season, especially that Missouri game, we'll talk about Missouri, and we'll recap this a little bit more on Monday when Tyler and I will be able to discuss this, bring it up probably a little bit more tomorrow in the AP poll reaction, so stay alert for those. But when you hold onto the ball 42 minutes, when you hold Alabama to not even having the ball for 18 full minutes, Jalen Milroe makes some uncharacteristic mistakes. I'm sorry, I have going to be running out of breath and running on fumes by the time we get done with this video. But look at the two turnovers. I mean, you look at the pick six that happens. Vanderbilt was given every single key to an upset you can. You talk about how you win an upset. That time of possession we talked about. Forcing turnovers, as you can see there highlighted with the mouse. And then we just got to talk about Diego Pavia a little bit, because this is a guy that, I mean, you've heard me talk about him. You've heard Tyler talk about him if you watch the show. This is a gamer. You look at that stat line, 16 for 20, 252 and 2 TDs. This is a Vandy offense that is designed to gash you when they can, just pound you over the middle. You look at that 54 carries, 20 for Pavia himself. He's not afraid to run with the ball. And the little shovel passes. That is what Vandy wants to kill you with. If they can just run the ball, play good enough defense, just make this game go by as quick as possible, shrink it down. We've seen Alabama occasionally have problems with this. Really gives everyone problems. That's why it's a good enough game plan. But Alabama, after all week, after the big win over Georgia, after, playing so well in the first half and then nearly collapsing in the second half, everyone just thought, well, that's just Georgia. Georgia's going to be able to do that to people because they're talented. But you look at what happened today, and my goodness, I mean, Jalen Miller, the Heisman talk we were talking about last week, that's gone, at least for now. It can come back. This is just one game. Alabama's still going to be a playoff team, barring some true collapse that might happen from this. But, I mean, we can talk about Alabama and all their mistakes. Ryan Williams had to bail them out several times, made some fantastic plays. Nothing else you can't say about Ryan Williams other than he's just a great football player. He's going to be fantastic. He already is fantastic. But what a win for Vanderbilt. And, I mean, you talk about Clark Lee trying to build this program up, rise from the ashes of what Vandy has been for a long time. They've been a doormat for a long time. You saw that in the crowd. It was Alabama taking over, as nearly every SEC fan base does. And Vanderbilt played their hearts out. I mean, they played the game of all games to beat Alabama here. I mean, they schematically had the way to beat them. They knew that if they could play nearly as perfect of a game as possible, you can get weird, funky results like this. And it still is baffling looking at that scoreboard. Every time I look at it, 40-35, this felt like, and I was talking with some people when I was watching this, when Vandy took the 40-28 lead, this feels like that Oklahoma-Kansas game from 3 years ago where Caleb Williams has to save the day and Oklahoma survived. It felt like that was what was going to happen for a moment. Okay, Alabama's going to score. They're going to make it 40-35. They're going to be able to get the ball back, and Bama's going to win. It's not going to be pretty, but hey, a win is a win. And that did not happen. Credit to Vandy's offense. I mean, just being able to gash Alabama, being able to pick Alabama's defense apart. There's going to be a lot of questions for this Alabama team for the rest of the season. They've got Tennessee looming in a few weeks. That's not going to be fun. Well, I say that, and Tennessee is struggling with Arkansas at the moment as I record this. That's not going to be a fun game in Knoxville. That's not going to be fun for Alabama now. We have, this is one of those season-altering just games where you have to think about, okay, what does everything... We had a world before this, and we have a world after this now. I'm sorry you're probably hearing a lot of noise just from bouncing around here. Like I said, this was not a video I expected to make today and or ever. You don't ever think about this type of game happening. But Vanderbilt getting a 40-35 win over Alabama, just unbelievable. I mean, this is one of those, never in a million years would I expect to see Alabama get beat like this. I mean, you expect it from a big team. You expect, if they would have lost to Georgia like this or something, you go, okay, that's just Georgia, or maybe even, a Tennessee like 2 years ago where that was a shootout game and that was fun. But Vandy? You're going to do this against Vanderbilt. This is just unbelievable to show where Vandy is now, by the way. I mean, you saw what happened to Missouri earlier today. Vandy took them to the wire. You had that game with Georgia State where you're Vanderbilt, where you come all the way back and then lose at the end. This is not a bad Vanderbilt team. I think people have been saying that all year. This is not a bad Vanderbilt team. They, I'm not going to go as far to say they're the best 3-2 team in the country, but they might be after this. This might be the spark we see for Vanderbilt to really get going, not just this year, but as a program moving forward. This is one of those games that can completely change a program, that puts you on the map to say, where were you when Vanderbilt beat Alabama and changed where they are as a program, from going to a doormat to slowly making their way maybe to the middle of the pack, maybe beyond that. Of course, that's all a long ways to say. I'm just speculating as much as you can off of the game that we had here today. But folks, as always, we'll get into this a lot more over the next few days. I just wanted to race and get something out because this is truly one of the wackiest games I've ever seen. I don't understand what I'm looking at in front of me. I really don't. I mean, it's going to take a day to process for Alabama people. I am shocked as well. I can't be more shocked than you, but this is something that I never thought I would see the day. I don't know how many times I've said that already this video. But folks, as always, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified, all that good stuff. Folks, we will be back tomorrow. We will be back Monday. This is going to be a weird recap video, folks. But as always for today, have a good one, everybody.